Ready, Daz?
I'm ready.
All right. Welcome to Words and Music. I am Amelia Jane Hunter. I am the words.
And I'm the music. My name is Steph Grace, and I'm going to kick it off with a song. This song's called If All You Had Was a Day.
Ooh.
If you had only one day left to use up all your breath, what would you do? A lot of sex. Would you worry about your figure or what they said on Twitter about you? Oh, I'm just so exhausted. Life's being shortened by what we think's supposed to be important. Then who would want to live that way if all you had was a day? Would you want to live that way? Time itself is not the only thing to waste if all you had was a day. And if you knew you wouldn't wake, what's the memory that you would make to be your last? Would you worry about your age or focus on a page filled with tiny little filtered photographs? Cause when you think of what your list is and things you want to fit in before your life story has been written, then who would want to live that way if all you had was a day? Would you want to live that way? Time itself is not the only thing to waste if all you had was a day. And it's not just you, 'cause I'm guilty of it too. It's so easy to say, but hard to do. And in times of self-doubt, well, I catch myself out, measuring my life in likes and views. But what good would that do if there's no happiness to link it to? So throw away your troubles to the wind like they were bubbles, and live like all your things on interruptions. Because who would want to live that way if all you had was a day? Would you want to live that way? Time itself is not the only thing to waste if all you had was a day. If all you had was a day.
You have such a beautiful voice. Oh my God, I love that line where you say, if it's not linked to happiness.
Oh,
Wow.
thank you.
And I got the goosies, got the goosebumps.
Thank you very much. Yeah. It's a bit of a tearjerker, that one. I mean, like, I don't know. I kind of wrote it like to sort of, I don't know, carpe diem sort of vibe.
Well, I
Seize
think
the day.
it's got some beautiful, poignant lines in it, and I feel like I'm in a band. So this is the coolest
great.
I think I've ever felt.
Amazing. What would you do if you just had one day left on Earth?
Well, I said it under my breath. Have a lot of sex.
Great.
In parks, outdoors.
Okay.
Try and swim in an ocean.
Yeah, okay.
You know, do something outrageous, more outrageous, or just gather a fantastic party and drink Veuve Clicquot all day on somebody else's credit card, because if it's the end, you know,
I mean,
no one has to pay.
Exactly.
You know, just
exactly.
do wonderful things with wonderful people.
It's a great answer.
So, Steph, tell me, why are we here? Why do I feel like a rock star sitting next to you?
Okay, so we're here today. Yes, this is an episode of Words and Music, and we are here today to try to help support the Indigenous Literacy Foundation, which is an amazing organisation in Australia, and they do some really, really poignant, important work. They encourage Indigenous writers and publish their works. They've published over 100 different works in 26 different Indigenous languages. And it's a subject that's very close to my heart, and I'm sure as is yours. We're really behind this cause, and we're here to raise money to help them keep delivering books they deliver books to lots and lots of different rural Indigenous communities, and we're here to try to raise money to help. So I'm giving a little bit of music, Amelia's giving a little bit of words, she's going to do some storytelling, and we're hoping for anyone out there, if they have the means, to give a little bit of funds. So if you are interested and as passionate about this cause as we are, click the link in the comments below and please give as much as you can.
And without words and wisdom, we're lost for knowledge, you know? And I mean, the one thing that excites me so much, even though we live here in Berlin as Auslanders, I still love the stories that are coming out of Australia at the moment, especially the Indigenous stories, Indigenous films. There's so much more focus on that. So these are the stories that really just give me so much, you know, impetus to want to be a better artist.
Well, I mean, from what I've heard, you're pretty amazing already. So on that note.
Oh my God, it's a cue.
God, on that note. Wasn't that a great segue? That was a great segue.
I love a segue. Okay.
So, all right. So,
My turn?
yeah, it is your turn. Speaking of stories, tell us a story, Amelia.
Berlin. It woke me up. It's a place I feel very, very much at home, where the buildings are as beautifully dilapidated and delightfully decorated with poetic propaganda, like my very own heart. I feel a conviction and an affinity in this city. After financing outrageous depravity in the pursuit of lust and men masquerading as gentle men, Berlin has become my very agile, very protective, very desirable lover. It's fair to say we are getting it on. I mean, there are not many places that can accommodate my giant ego and all of her pantsuits, but Berlin has embraced me without codes of conduct, curfews, or any conditions whatsoever. I love it. Now, had you told me this in 1994, when I was losing consciousness and the will to live, tour guiding backpackers of the German variety across Kakadu National Park in the north of Australia, climbing them up magnificent escarpments, throwing them into crystal clear emerald plunge pools, swimming beneath 100-metre high waterfalls, climbing up through the escarpments to find remote, exclusive, sacred Aboriginal art, and then climbing to a view of such monumental magnificence, world heritage significance, looking across a plain and feeling that this synergy that we had garnered together, this effort, this sweat, this view, this feeling, may be the most special moment of our lives. And all I could ever hear was Jürgen from Bremen, murder the moment. For how long are we here? I don't know, Jürgen. Maybe as long as it takes your anus to unpucker. I know, Jürgen. And his flat-faced, mosquito-bitten, fat-ankled girlfriend. Oh, well, she had all of the charm and charisma of roadkill. Together, their cacophony of whinge and whine. Where, why, what fors, arrival, departure times, you name it. They had complaints, heat, humidity, rocks, flies, the lack of gelatinous lunch meat on the menu, the transcending colon full of metwurst since birth, all of it was my fault. I mean, had you told me then that one day, Amelia, you are going to be living, nay, loving, in a land with more Jürgens, well, I would have taken a conch shell and a rock and smashed it against my head and given myself a do-it-yourself lobotomy. I would have torn a sapling, a branch from a small tree, carved it into a sharp spear and plunged it deep into my throat. And then I would have dragged myself, weak, wounded, and profusely bleeding, and thrust myself into the coffee-coloured waters of the floodplain to await the 5-ton per square inch closing power of the saurian beast, the saltwater crocodile, to snap down around me and death roll me down and down and down into the drowning depths, twisting and spinning and tearing my body till limbs and life were gone. And finally, there was silence. Don't worry, Steph. Don't worry, they'll find my body 2 days later, downstream, bleached, bloated, in the harsh Northern Territory sun, missing an arm. The policeman who found my body will tell the local news it would have been the most terrifying, excruciating, brutal end. But yet somehow, oddly, when we came across her body, she appeared to be smiling. Did I ever tell you about the time I slipped into an Indian pit toilet during a blackout and a flood, broke my hip and had to clamber out along the shit-strewn floor on my back alone? No? No? Well, that was far more spiritually crushing than dealing with German backpackers. Fortunately, time and wine has softened the edges of those memories. As it's
To Jürgen. I mean,
to Jürgen.
to Jürgen.
Jürgen, you didn't know it. You were the worst, but the best.
So you're happy that you live in Germany now, obviously.
I love it. I love it. Are you kidding me? The beautiful bone structure, the crazy stairs, the broad shoulders.
So hang on. You said that you were doing tour guides through Kakadu National Park. Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
I know, it was a beautiful job, but backpackers in the early 90s, I think when they started putting wheels on bags, like trolley bags, and stopped being backpacks, that's when there was a shift. But yes, I was a tour guide for about 2.5 years until I got fired from pretty much every company. And then I became a bushwalking guide, which took me into the remote parts of the Northern Territory and Western Australia, and really felt so privileged to be allowed access into some of the most amazing country, where there still is, art sites and shelters and really even stone tools still in situ, So very, very privileged. So, definitely a very, very profoundly felt, urge to raise money for something that...
Totally.
Because most Australians have not even really travelled within their own country.
Exactly.
And that's what I always loved about the backpackers. They'd buy a $2,000 Falcon and put a mattress in the back and drive around this giant island. I mean, it is very intimidating.
It is intimidating, but it is so true. You never really explore your own backyard,
I did.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're from the Northern Territory, aren't you?
No, I was born elsewhere, but it's not as classy to say, so...
Okay. Oh, well.
I spent my formative years in the north.
Okay, right.
Anyway,
yeah.
This is Words and Music, and I love this.
This is Words and Music. And it actually is focusing on Australian artists in Germany, and that's exactly where we are, ladies and gentlemen. And so, seeing as you just told a story about your... reasons why you came to Germany, or at least reasons why early spawned ideas that were planted in your mind about Germany. I'm going to play you guys a song now that I wrote about, so we're in Berlin, and in the U-Bahn in Berlin there are these little hand-drawn images of the Brandenburg Gate, and it's sort of like the logo, I suppose, of the transport company here. And on one of the drawings that is basically tattooed across every train in the whole city has a mistake in it. And there's one little line that is sort of incorrect, and it sort of puts the whole perspective off. And I had a friend who it really, really, really bothered him, and I never noticed it. And I was having a conversation with him on the train once, and he just had his focus was just like completely on the window, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "I'm sorry, it just really annoys me," and it kind of spawned the idea of this of this song. It's called Brandenburg Gate. I spend my days all around the places where we made the choice, and every corner's like a sign of torture. Yeah, I see your face and hear your voice. Sit on the train, I stare out the window pane, and I remember how you hate all the pictures of the Brandenburg Gate. How they don't look the same. No, they don't quite look the same. Stay together. I fall apart as things got better, but they never got good. Holding on to reasons, anything that we could to stay together. I fall apart as things got worse, but they never got bad. Holding on to reasons, anything that we had. Stay together. And it's coming near dusk, and I'm just finished busking down by the Berlin Wall. It's incomprehensible to think that this is my town when I used to be yours. Sit on the train, I stare out the window pane, but I just can't see past all the little tiny stickers on the glass that you used to complain don't quite look the same. Stay together. I fall apart as things got worse, but they never got bad. Holding on to reasons, anything that we had to stay together. I fall apart 'cause things got better, but they never got good. Holding on to reasons, anything that we could stay together. 'Cause I know, and you know, that you never thought twice about leaving. And I know, and you know, that never is a word that you believe in. And I might never understand, so enjoy yourself in Never Never Land. Stay together. I fall apart 'cause things got worse, but they never got bad. Holding on to reasons, anything that we had to stay together.
Woo, yes!
The end.
I love that fancy thing you do with your voice. Ah!
Oh.
Is it too late to be a singer? Could
But-
I be a singer?
I don't think so. I don't think it's ever too late to be a singer.
Well, I was in the Sacred Heart Music Choir at school.
Were you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I
nice.
can bust out a bit of Panis Angelicus
You've
when
got
needed.
some strength in your vocal cords there. I feel like you could definitely.
Well, I used to, as you know, be a tour guide, so I yelled at people. So it's good to have projection.
projection.
Yeah, get in the car.
enunciation. Wait, is it called diction? Diction.
It's called diction.
Yeah.
It's called diction. And speaking of diction, I have a story because I've fallen in love, much like you, with Berlin, and I fell in love with just the spunks. I mean, so many hot, amazing people, right?
Agreed, yes.
And I mean, I had never lived in a place where I was falling in love. I mean, you talk about being on the U-Bahn, I didn't know those stickers were discombobulated or out of whack because I was too busy meeting every crazy German stare on the U-Bahn, which at first I was like, oh my God, I'm a supermodel. No, not at all. They just stare at you. But I love it. And I think Berlin excites me. Does it excite you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
an exciting place.
It's, yeah.
So I wrote this story. It's a true story. And you know who you are if you're listening. So call me. I want to fornicate with my falafel man.
For a second I was like, is it me? No.
No. And I think he wants to fornicate with me. But he's trapped behind his culture and the counter that I want to leap across and metaphorically smash those mosaic tiles and grab his beautiful soft skin and big beard and dive into the black pools of his eyes and see how long I can hold my breath. I want to whisper the sultry, seductive words slowly into his ears so that every syllable slips and forms and fiddles with his manly machinery. When that spinning cone of meat stops and you fry your last falafel, would you care to come next door and make some magic with me? Then I leave the crumbs from my last supper like a trail to my loins, and I await the clinger to call. I haven't always had the most conventional approach to lust, finding and funding outrageous depravity in all coldest, cruelest, quirkiest corners of the world, often seeing that every tryst was a battle worth winning. Suddenly, I am like the goddess Kali, drunk on the blood of all the men I slayed on the battlefield, wearing their skulls around my neck like a garland of victory or a high-fashion priced piece of jewellery that only a woman of conviction and daring chooses to wear. I would call them opposition, but they were never worthy adversaries, never my heart's equal, more a fleeting feast that left me hungry, still horny. I watch now from the sidelines this fickle notion of what you call communication. You really don't say much with your words, do you? Your filter-ridden images asking a callous world, would you, in all honesty, fuck this face? I mean, your eyes are dead, your intentions are unclear. No, there is nothing much here that inspires me. I wish I could stifle my cynicism, give rise to the wonders of living in this magnificent multicultural city brimming with sex clubs and kink nights and open-minded ideals all sold on Facebook so we know them to be real. But when mediocrity is worn like those suffocating winter wraps of which the beguiling eyes of the Berlin beauties peek from behind, thinking this is what fashion moguls want them to wear. Giant blankets. Giant, ugly blankets. Then suddenly I'm lost, adrift. And once again, I am alone. And that is why I want to fornicate with my falafel man. Because his eyes, his intentions bore into my heart like Valerian steel, and I bleed for the moments we can writhe together, conjuring up a primal scent, an energy that sees us create a documentary-worthy rut for days, for weeks, for months, coming up to feed occasionally before we sink back down into our sunken sexual world, where we are kept alive by chemistry, connection, and the greatest series of climaxes that David Attenborough has ever had the privilege to narrate in his 94 years on Earth. Abuya.
I mean,
who wouldn't want a falafel? Who doesn't love a falafel?
Well, see, I was going to say, we're in Berlin. So all of these episodes, I think this is the 6th one. Mm-hmm. All of these episodes are based on Australian artists, musicians and writers in Berlin. And not in Berlin, but in Germany. And I feel like everyone has a falafel man. Maybe not everyone has the same lust for their falafel man that you do.
If they had seen him, they would.
Okay.
But everyone does have a falafel man, I agree. Because every Keats has at least 4 to 6 amazing falafel shops, but there's the Turkish and the Lebanese. I prefer the hummus over the yogurt. I mean,
you know what I like? I like to order some tabbouleh in my falafel wrap.
Wow, controversial right there. Let's go to a break.
Is that controversial?
It's very controversial. Yeah. Yeah, it's as controversial as scharf as salsa. So.
Oh, I mean, regular scharf or German scharf?
Well, German scharf doesn't belong anywhere on the Richter, but that makes me sound like I'm very not on board with German, and I am so on board.
You're on board with German.
I've never lived anywhere that I've loved as much as here. You know, when I first came here, I just really thought, how can I be 40 years old and no one ever told me about Berlin?
Wow. Okay, so how many years have you been here?
Okay, well, that's going to make me
Is that
make
too?
my age.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was 40. I'm 48. Come on. And I love it.
Yeah.
8 years here in this amazing city. How long for you? Oh, you've been on and off for a long time.
Yeah, it's a bit of a two-part question for me. I first came in 2014, but I haven't really stayed solidly. Just been traveling back and forth. But yeah, I came in 2018. What year is it now? I'd say 3.5 years.
Nice. But you were flirting with Europe before then.
I was.
Yeah, and touring around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful lifestyle to, and it's a gorgeous way to live.
Yeah, it is beautiful. I mean, obviously we can't do it right now, but it is it's a really, really exciting and interesting way to live my life. And I really love it. And I've got so many stories and songs. And speaking of songs,
cue that.
How's that segue? Did somebody say the S word? No, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to sing you guys a song now. And it's going to be my last song. And then I think we're probably going to wrap up soon. But thanks for watching, if there's anyone out there watching. We hope you're having a lovely Saturday afternoon. And thanks to Ripple Media as well and Cam for organising this whole thing to celebrate Australian artists in Germany and giving us the opportunity to pump some awareness into the scene about Indigenous cultures. And because I don't know about you, but sometimes I get a lot of questions about Indigenous Australians here in Germany, and it kind of makes me a little bit makes me sad and excited at the same time to be able to talk about it and educate people. And I'm just super excited to be part of something that is exposing such an amazing cause like the Indigenous Literacy Foundation. And if you have anything to donate, details are below. Give the link a click and show your support. They mean a lot to us. So on that note, this song has nothing to do with anything I just said, but it is a song. So that's what I'm here for.
Words and music.
Words and music. Okay, this song's called Lightning. Here we go. 16, as I beeline straight to the window. That's where I found her. Right in between drinks, I counted your drinks down to 0. So let me buy a drink and we can talk all night. I can see you're not alright. Staring to the street like you said your glass was almost empty. To me, looks almost full. Take my hand, let's break some rules. When the light strikes, it's without a warning, like a tree out in a storm. When lights on fire, you lit me up like your eyes did when you hit me with your lightning, boy. And sometimes when you least expect it, you find just what you're looking for. It's a fine line between love and connection. Just take a breath, it's only adding more. So let me buy a drink and we can talk all night. I can see you're not alright. Staring to the street like you said your glass was almost empty. To me, looks almost full. Take my hand, let's break some rules. When the light strikes, it's without a warning, like a tree out in a storm. When it lights on fire, you lit me up like your eyes did when you hit me with your lightning, boy. 'Cause I don't wanna be lonely, but I want to be alone. And I can feel it in my bones. This is the calm before the storm. When the lightning strikes, it's without a warning, like a tree out in the storm. When it lights on fire, you lit me up like your eyes did when you hit me. When the lightning strikes, it's without a warning, like a tree out in the storm. When it lights on fire, you lit me up like your eyes did when you hit me with your lightning, boy. When you hit me with your lightning, boy.
Can I tell one last story?
Absolutely, please take it home.
It's a story I wrote when I was feeling a lot of passion, but also a lot of frustration, I guess.
Okay.
And it's called My Ode to Berlin. I think it's as close to poetry as I'll ever get.
Ready.
Berlin, you big, beautiful bitch. I want you to have a seat when I tell you this. I'm breaking up with you. No, don't worry, sweetheart, it's not you. I've been so good to you, I've forgotten to be good to me. You see, it's fair to say, sweetheart, it was lust at first sight. You stirred in me a carnal desire, limbering up my limbs from their inertia, matching my strength and penetrating me forcefully through all the pockets around town. Keys to a kingdom, unbridled, unfettered, uncensored, with sex dens, a choose-your-own adventure of fear and delight with that sticky scent of survival. I've been yearning for something salacious, something that would cause my mouth to go dry. I'd been searching the dark rooms, playing amongst the smooth skin, muscle boys and ink-stained, muscly men, sometimes to a lower level of lewd and true, finding that which we fear most in the dark, monsters, like the one I have become. You see, Darling, at first I thought you were teaching me. I thought you were showing me a series of challenges that I gamely accepted. You flushed my heart. You stirred me up, but you never once wooed my mind. I really wanted you to. Oh, how I wanted you to. But my lover, you don't care for questions because you already believe you know the answers. Your narcissistic insistence that you be poor but sexy has left me adrift and alone. I buy you a drink just so you'll keep me company and travel the 18 inches from my head to my heart. But your patience wears thin when my real weight bears down and the mask slips. Now you seem afraid of what you don't know. And I am afraid that I have outgrown you. I'm afraid of many things. Mired by immaturity, I need to play with my own again. So I'm going to set you free. Or on fire. I'll detonate that bridge once I cross it. So, darling, this delightful dalliance, this disco era has ended. It's shed skin and shifted, just as my uterus does every time I ride your cobblestone streets. And yet this pain in my perineum, backhanded by my bike seat till it's beaten down and broken, like a Venus schnitzel dumped into boiling oil, perfectly illustrates the poignancy of our love, the lofty heights of our hedonism, your sadomasochistic embrace, and my absolute lack of discipline. And so it is with a heavy head and a beating heart. I bid you farewell. I love you, Berlin. I just love me more.
Oh my God, that was amazing.
I'm not really breaking up with you. I'm really not. And I'm here to stay. No. I mean, still call me. I mean, I'm available.
Made me laugh and cry.
I know. That's why I think what makes an ode.
It makes an ode.
Yeah.
That was so good. I mean, what a way to end a show. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Steph Grace. This is the amazing Amelia Jane Hunter.
This is the amazing Steph Grace.
Thanks
She's
for
the
watching.
music. I'm the words. We're Australian.
And we're so proud of this cause today, the Indigenous Literacy Foundation. Please give what you can. We're going to give what we can.
Absolutely.
And we just gave you our all. So thanks for watching. And I was going to say good night, but it's daytime.
It's daytime.
Should we try and hug?
It's
awkwardly?
It's so many different kinds. Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
And we just met. So how nice is this?
Did. Exactly.
You know, this beautiful simpatico of Australians.
Amazing.
Bye. Pizza's here.
Oh.